Welcome to another episode of our Acts for Fire, for continuing education. And I'm very happy. This is part 2 with Pastor Rodney, and just so glad that he's able to join me today in just giving some pretty neat insight into what he's doing, as a bivocational pastor, but also as an International Ministries global servant as well. And so this is pretty cool. And so I wanted to just thank you again. We're going to be, I'm over here now, and we're going to begin to continue to share about what you've done with theological education. Mm-hmm. All right. So we are, my question, I guess, as we continue this process, because of the work you do, with theological education, what have been, I guess, what have you seen as theological needs? Like I know you teach a lot, obviously at the seminary, but you obviously with folks around the globe. What have you seen as needs, theological needs for people, as you see amongst pastors and leaders in different, maybe it's different in different regions. I don't know, but if you could share a little bit about that, that would be awesome.
Hello again. It's so good to be continuing with this podcast, and thank you, Pastor Eric. Yeah, the most significant theological need that I see globally, these leaders, these theologians, emerging leaders, are in different spaces. So, for me, it's how do you do theology contextually, because of the lived experiences, the various layers of a social context. And so the challenge is, how do you make theology, the Word of God, meaningful in their particular spaces? Of course, paying very, very careful attention to be rooted in the biblical teachings of God's salvific work and all the major doctrines, that they are non-negotiables. But yet at the same time, trying to be contextual. How do they read the Bible theologically, but in a contextual way, so that it becomes meaningful in their spaces and their context? The other challenge is spiritual formation. And I'm big on this, because it's important that we as practitioners, as theologians, as emerging leaders, even in outside of the space, character building, because that is very, very important in the church, not only here but globally as well. And so walking alongside them and encouraging them to spend time in ways that will help them to grow in terms of their character. So those two areas that for me, I see a great need. One is the contextual theology, and the other is spiritual formation, character building.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I think that's one of the questions I want to ask, because obviously contextually it could be very different for where they're located. Mm-hmm. Have you ever noticed anything that was maybe more of it's not a red flag, but something that really stood out to you, like a difference between here in the States and somewhere else? Have you ever noticed anything like that?
Yeah. One of the observations that I've made is some of these fly-by-night schools that have embedded themselves in different parts of the world. And of course, I sometimes hear how the gospel is being diluted in those spaces, or perhaps skewed. And you can just sense that sometimes in the conversation. And that's where now I engage with them, and we come back to the scripture. What does the Bible say? What does the Bible say about this particular area? And then to walk alongside them, taking them through what the Bible says about it, but in ways that we look at the original text, whether it's Hebrew or Greek, and then do some exegesis. And it's amazing how people say, wow, I didn't really think about it that way. So, in those areas, I find that I need to kind of, come alongside and say, let's look at it differently.
So, yeah, I actually I appreciate what you said, because one of the things that I saw at least, and I know with working with the pastors I've been working with in Uganda, one of the biggest concerns, and obviously it's Africa, I mean, let's just talk generally. I know one of the big concerns for them is the prosperity gospel. And you talked about how they can skew or twist or whatever. I like to use the word manipulate. They might manipulate the gospel, manipulate the scriptures to fit what they are trying to convince their congregation of, or pastor maybe. And so the prosperity gospel. Have you seen that as an issue? Have you seen, or maybe you could talk about that a little bit, about the manipulation of trying to convince people to do more or to give more or whatever it might be?
Oh, yes. In fact, before assuming this ministry, this role with I came from a space, from a context where that was very prevalent. And so sometimes engaging with students around the world, I do see that as something that many of them, subscribe to, this prosperity gospel. And as you know, there's nothing wrong in wanting to enjoy wealth and to be blessed by God. But how do you manage it? But how do you use what God has blessed you with to enhance the ministry? But I find that in many places around the world, the agenda is to enrich either a person or a kind of a church in ways that's sometimes antithetical to the gospel, where it is self-serving, and of course it dilutes the gospel as it relates to stewardship and all that stuff. So I do see that quite prevalent.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the big one is if you don't give, God won't bless you, or if you don't give, you must be a sinner.
Sure.
Those kind of contexts, but in those words, I should say. I guess one of the things that I want to ask too on this is, how have you? Trying to think of the right question here. Well, you've already brought this up, but I almost want to hear a little bit more about it. How has your working internationally, how has that reached into how you even teach at Palmer? How has that reached into how you preach? Like, how has that helped to, in your own theological education too? I mean, how has that really made a difference for you?
Yeah, I love telling stories. So when I'm out doing my work as a global theological educator, I carry with me the stories back into my teaching at Palmer, and both to Palmer and to my local church. And it's amazing, those stories of resilience, people that are barely making it in life economically, and their resilience and their commitment to the faith. It is so encouraging to people here, especially in a rich country like America, to hear of those stories. And so I love stories. In fact, stories, they illustrate your sermonic points. Jesus was a great storyteller. So I embrace this form of this storytelling kind of posture very, very, very strongly in my teaching, both at Palmer and at North Wales Baptist Church. Some of them still remember the stories of people that I've used in my sermons and in my teaching, and they will always ask about give us an update and all that stuff. So. Yeah. Or
they'll make a comment or a joke about something you shared, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And Pastor, let me just also, you're aware of this, a couple of days ago, the church manse we were living in, the third floor caught on fire.
Right.
And we had to evacuate very quickly. I ran out of the house barefoot feet, but it just reminded me that ministry is not located in a space, in a geographic location. Because very soon after that, I started to do my work using my laptop. Although my third floor, which you helped to set up the studio with all the wonderful equipment, that had all burnt out on the third floor. But it just reminded me that ministry is not located in a geographical space. It goes beyond that. And with technology, we can just move on, doing what God has called us. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's fantastic. I appreciate what you do. I know it's I know how hard it is to have to teach people in other places online. It's extra work, isn't it? Instead of being in a classroom. So when you told me you had a translator, I was like, oh boy, that makes it even more fun, because I've done a lot of work with people where they've had to translate for me, but I've been in the local live, I should say, right? So I appreciate what you're talking about with technology and how important it is. And I love the fact that we can use technology to spread the gospel, to spread how to grow deeper, theologically speaking, for what you're doing as well. What would you tell, this is going to be a little off script from what we talked about, what would you tell a local pastor about how they could connect to help in international ministries?
Yeah. From a cultural perspective, this has been a very uncomfortable area of asking people to help, because both as a pastor and as a person from a cultural background, you're always wanting to give. You want to pour into the lives of others. But I'm in a space now where God has called me to do this, and it requires the church. It requires people to join in what God is doing. And so God is doing a great work around the world. And so I've been invited to participate in God's work. And He's already there doing the work, and I join Him and with our partners. So, folks can pray for me, pray for the ministry that I'm doing with International Ministries. If they feel led to take the next step to give, they can go onto the website, www.internationalministries.org, and there's my name there, Global Servant Rodney Ragwan, and they can contribute either monthly or yearly or quarterly. The sustainable gift is what actually helps the work continue.
Sure.
Yeah. And I've been so blessed with the folks that have walked alongside me thus far. And if God is leading folks to do that, it'll be appreciated.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate, I love how you just said that the work is going on, but we can be partners and come alongside and making it happen, or help to develop it or to grow it, which I think is tremendous. I think it's fantastic. I do think that many of our local pastors need to hear more about the work like you're doing, and I could go talk about others that I know, the Clemmers, the Bollocks. I mean, we could go through the list of people that I know we support here at First Baptist Lansdale. But I can share that I've always been impressed with the, I want to say, the extra that our global servants that we have connected with have gone to do. They've gone the extra mile. And I really appreciate that. I'm really appreciative that the people that we work with and serve with are not staying stagnant, but they are actually getting out there and doing that work. So I really appreciate that. And so I know you have some trips maybe coming up here in the next little bit. Why don't you share a little bit about what you're going to be doing? What about like next 6 maybe months or in the next year? What are you doing? Yeah. And then we'll wrap this up eventually here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited in the next couple of months. I'm in the planning stage of a very major conference in South Africa, launching the inaugural John Rangya Memorial Missions Conference. This gentleman who came from India to South Africa in 1903 started the First Baptist Church in Africa. And so I'm launching an inaugural conference honoring him and the work of International Ministries. through their work in India and now in South Africa. So I'm so excited about the launch of this inaugural conference. It's a very historic conference, and I'm hoping that it will encourage the next generation to continue the work of mission, of spiritual formation, of transformation, of building up their leaders in their own spaces. So June 5th, at least June 24th, I'll be leaving to South Africa. I'll be in Cape Town with the faculty of the Cape Town Baptist Seminary. I'm spending a couple of days there doing some faculty workshop and preaching at their chapel. Then I go down to Durban. There are several events there. There's a family, my wife and I will be doing a family conference, speaking at churches, and the big one is the mission conference that takes place in June 5th and 6th. So that's keeping me busy now. I'm praying and getting excited and just so looking forward to that.
So you'll be gone basically the whole month of June is what you're...
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. That's fantastic. I really appreciate what you do. I know it's a lot, and I know you. And again, I understand the balance to try to balance everything, and so thank you. I appreciate your time today to be able to share. I think it's good for people to know more, and I will make sure, folks, I'm sharing this with you watching this. I'm going to put up I'll put the link in the description about where you could find out more about his IM page, where you can find out more about how you can support Pastor Rodney and the work he does. I know First Baptist Lansdale, we support you. We really appreciate you and appreciate your partnership. I appreciate you personally for the friendship and the partnership that we have had in doing ministry together, literally across town almost, which has been awesome. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Pastor Eric. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you to your church and your congregation for the support, and also for setting up my studio, which you did. I appreciate that, and for the opportunity to share on this podcast. The Lord bless you for all that you're doing.
Thank you, and you too. Friends, thank you for being a part of this, and we will take care, and we'll talk more on the next Acts Continuing Education opportunity for you to be a part of this as well.